What's up, y'all? And welcome to part two of this interview. All right, I forgot to say my name. I'm Tyler. For those who are just tuning in, you are now listening to Technically Athletic. All right, and I am. This is part two of my interview with my good friend and teammate Franky. I really hope you guys enjoy. Okay, and if you listen to this on the audio, please give us a 5-star rating and leave us a review. I really appreciate that review. Okay, and if you're watching this on the YouTube, make sure you hit that like button, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment. All right, hit the notification bell, and make sure you subscribe. All right, we appreciate y'all. Oh yeah, if you want some of this merch, noclearancepod.com/shop. All right, all right. Let's get to the interview, man. Enjoy. Peace.
No clearance.
Yeah, that was rough, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and look, I swear I was blocking. I don't know about the
Nah,
other
see,
folk.
the thing is though,
It
that
was
game,
tough.
I didn't even argue with the punt team. I just like when it got blocked, I never said anything.
Yeah, that I always think about that. It was crazy because we practice special teams every single day.
Every day, at the beginning of practice and at the end of practice. So
So it was just like that was crazy. I mean, that was just one of the crazy things about that
yeah,
season.
I mean,
Um,
it was just
but
a
look,
bad. It was just a bad game for special teams. That's all I can say.
it was tough, man.
It
It
was a
was
bad
tough.
game.
Going into that all season, man. Um, from what I recall, you really took recruiting into your own hands. Uh, but what do you remember about the recruiting process for you?
Um, but like I said, I can't take all credit because Coach Chapman, he's the one who put my highlight tape together, and like, I mean, that may be showing my age, but back then it wasn't big on the
Bruh,
YouTube thing. Like it was like
no huddle.
it wasn't no huddle. It was on a disc. So
Yeah, we
Coach,
had the
yeah,
CDs,
it had the
bro.
CDs. Like Coach Chapman, he gave me like a few copies. And then my mother, we went to like Staples or something and just started making copies of it. So till this
Mm.
day, I still have copies at my parents' house of my high school. I had probably about 50 copies. And what we did was, um, I would go to a couple school fairs in college, and I hand them out to. Sometimes I used to hand out to like teachers, stuff like that, just to pass it along. But visits wise, I didn't go on that many visits. I went to a couple camps. I was at the Richmond camp, um, Maryland camp. Just went to a couple schools. I did go on a visit with Old Dominion. Um, they had wanted me at one point, but they wanted me to, do you play defense as well? And I was like, no, I ain't played defense since before high school. So, you know, um,
They asked you that at the visit.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I'll be
yep.
damn.
They asked me that. I had actually got an offer from Delaware State um, to be a punter, and I was like, no.
Really?
Yeah. And
That's nuts.
at the time, my father was like, you can go there, say you're a punter, and also say you're a receiver. I'm like, if they don't want me as a receiver first, I don't want to be there at all. So,
Yeah.
I didn't want to go there. And I was at Seton Hill. I went there. I think it was like a D2 school. I went on a visit there.
Seton Hill for
Mm-hmm.
real in Pittsburgh,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
We played them.
Okay.
We actually ended up playing them.
Yep.
And that was
Yeah.
crazy. That was a crazy
And
game.
then one day I'm in class, and Coach Bevel. Anytime this was like a thing, anytime where Coach will come to one of your classes and pull you out of class, 9 times out of 10 is because of a college coach. So
Yeah.
I see like Nico gets a call, get called down. Jamal Bailey gets a call. Kari Brown gets a call, and it wasn't that many of us who played college football, so I'm just like, I don't think nobody gonna call me. So one day, Coach Bevel called him to the office. So to his office. So he said, I got a coach from St. Francis, and I said, I don't even know where St. Francis is. So he said, no, it's in Pennsylvania, and I said, was like a D3 school? He said, no, it's a D1 school. I said, oh, okay. So I talked to him. At the time, it was Coach Anderson. Um, good guy, good man. He was telling me about the school, And then literally, probably a few weeks later, I was on a visit there. It was me. It was me, both my parents, and I was on a visit. It was me and a couple other recruits who actually ended up going there, and I'm still friends with them till this day. My boy Will Martin, who was there, and I was just, it was a small campus, but we took the tour and things like that, and I was just like, yeah, yeah, this is where I wanted to go. And
Okay.
so I give a lot of credit to Coach Bevel because he's the one who really introduced me to St. Francis. Because I didn't know anything about them. I didn't know where it was at. I didn't know anything like that. I didn't know they were a D1 school. So I just ended up going there.
Hey man, shout out Coach Bevel.
You hear me?
Joe. All right, man. What was the biggest transition for you from high school to college? What do you feel was the biggest
From a
difference?
football aspect?
Yeah, yeah.
I would say meetings. It's a lot more meetings. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot more meetings. I think the camp itself wasn't physically it wasn't that difficult. Just coming from West Virginia, obviously, but the mental aspect was a lot harder. I'll admit that it was going through meetings like your whole day is nothing but football, and then you go to sleep and you wake up and you do it all over again. And even fast forwarding, to the semester, I mean, football is still like it's like a job, it's like a class. So you got to balance your classes around football. So I think like definitely like time management. That was time management and meetings was probably the biggest transition and honestly the most difficult for me.
Um, Let me ask you about schematics, like football
Hmm.
wise. Was y'all y'all was like pro style
Hmm.
offense?
Yeah, when I got there, we were spread offense like my freshman year. And then we had got a new defensive coordinator, and then we kind of became more of a pro style offense.
Okay, how does pro style benefit anybody offensively?
Um,
I always like it's a lot more in my mind. It's a lot more simpler than a spread. Um, so it's kind of like it shouldn't be on something. I don't think you have to think too much, but that's just from a defense standpoint. But what would you say from pro to spread is like biggest difference to you?
I mean, from a receiver standpoint, I prefer spread, because
Yeah,
the game is a lot faster. You're going to put up more points. The ball's in the air a lot more. The pro style, it's way more balanced. And
Hmm.
I mean, for me, for me, our offense, like my freshman year when we was a spread, we was averaging like close to 30 points a game, you know, versus when we went to the pro style, our average went down, but we were a lot more balanced. When I was there, we had three All-American running backs. Things by the time, throughout my whole time I was there, we had three All-American running backs. So
yep.
um, my routes, the routes started changing a lot. By the time we got to pro style offense, it was a lot more, I don't want to say basic, but a lot more traditional routes, a lot of digs, slants, a lot of curls, things like that. Um, but in the spread, you're running a little bit more exotic route combinations. You got your post corners, you got your corner stops, you got your whips. It's a lot of routes that we ran, a lot of different route
Yeah.
combinations. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, that was schematic wise. I would have preferred the spread offense, but the pro style, it's way more balanced.
Got you. um, Your sophomore year, you played tight end.
so
how, how did
so
this
here's
happen?
the thing with that. Here's the thing. That's actually a lot of people don't know. That is actually an error. So
Okay.
I don't know
Okay.
why we had a new media guy, and it was one day in practice. I was working with the tight ends, and I don't know why, but I was working with the tight ends. He just happened to see me, so he assumed that I was a tight end, and I told him, I said, no, I'm a receiver. I was just working on tight ends, for this certain package, and I guess he didn't understand that. So the whole season
He just
on the roster, it says I'm a tight end, and I'm like, I'm not a tight end. Like, during that season, I don't think I ever lined up in the game at tight end. I was always at receiver. And that was a year we transitioned into a pro style offense.
yeah.
So I don't
Okay.
know. But yeah. No, I was that year, my sophomore year, that was kinda one could say that was kind of like my breakout year, finally like getting a chance to play. My freshman year, it was more so kind of still learning the offense, things like that. My sophomore year, well, the spring ball going into my sophomore year, that's when I really started to earn my stripes and getting a chance to play. So,
Spring
yep,
ball. Any spring ball stories? First of all, the weather. I know for me, I practiced in like 7-degree weather at one time for spring
yeah,
ball, and I know it get cold in
yeah.
St. Francis. What was the coldest you? What was the coldest was it when you had to
In
be out
spring
there?
ball,
Yeah.
oh, because our spring ball, we practice in like 6 in the morning, so the coldest probably like -2, I want to say.
Y'all was out
Yeah, we
negative
was
too.
out there. It was snow on the field and everything. Yeah, yeah. Like it's they call it spring ball, but it was winter ball. Like
Yeah.
it was never.
No.
It was never. We had one spring game. It was, and when I say nice, I mean like 40 degrees. That's like a good day for us. 40, 45 is like, all right. Like, no, everyone is like sleeveless, arms out and everything. But for the most part,
That's hilarious.
we're in hoodies and sweatpants with our shoulder pads over top. So
Man.
yeah, so now it was
But
constantly cold.
I always do feel like spring ball is like that's definitely that time where you really get your
Mm-hmm.
confidence
For
and
sure.
like the type of player you are and really really feeling yourself before the season, man. Um, so yeah, well, I guess what do you remember most about spring ball? Like, yeah, what do you remember most about spring ball?
Um, I mean, like you said, I mean, just really getting my confidence and really earning my playing time. Because to me,
Mm.
I guess through my experience was you earn your spot in spring ball. By the time you get to summer camp, the coaches kind of like have an idea who's the guy already. But
Yeah,
spring ball, that's when like everyone's back at an even playing field, and now the best will play. So, and it was tough. I mean, I had juniors and seniors ahead of me. So, and at the time, like I said, I was a rising sophomore. So, I had a lot of expectations for me, and I was fortunate enough for I did what I needed to do, and the coaches saw that. So
y'all played in a pretty decent conference. What's
NEC.
the
Mm-hmm.
NEC? See, I was playing against the because we played a team in the NEC. I'm forgetting the name, which I was playing like the
Yep.
41.
We
Uh,
played won that in that conference at the time. We had the Duquesne, Robert Morris,
mm,
Sacred Heart, Central Connecticut State. Yep.
Sacred Heart. That's what we played. Okay.
Bryant
Yeah.
University. Monmouth was in the conference at that time. Of course, Wagner.
Yeah. What team did you enjoy playing against the most?
That I enjoyed playing against the most. Well, my sophomore year, when I scored my first college touchdown, I was against Central Connecticut State. So that's always like
Okay.
a fun game. Um,
Was that the post? I
yeah,
saw your highlight tape
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Was that
That was the post. Yep.
okay?
Yeah.
Bro, that's a tough catch, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was over the shoulder.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that, ain't too many
Yeah.
people go keep an eye
And
on
it's
that. That was
funny.
tough.
I still remember we was working on that play throughout practice, and I was never the receiver who ran that play. It just happened
Wow.
to. We were in the huddle, and I never forget. Um, our tight end Kevin Parker, my boy, we call him Park. He called it in the huddle. He said, "Man, let's run this play." And, and we were like, "You sure?" And then the receiver who normally run it wasn't in the game. He said, "Man, let Frank run it." And I was like, "Yeah, let me run it. I'll run it." And it just happened to work out. And it just worked. It just worked out. So to this day,
Stay
every once
ready,
in a while, I
bro.
talk to him. He said, "Man, you still remember CCSU?" I'm like, "Yeah, I remember."
Stay
Because he
ready.
was a senior at the time, so I was like the youngest player, like one of the youngest players in the huddle, and he just like, "Man, he got it." And like I say, they called on my
That's
number, and
dope.
it worked out for me. Um,
That's
yeah,
dope, bro.
but favorite team to play against. Um, it's a toss up between Duquesne and Robert Morris because that's like
Okay.
they were like in-state rivals. So we always
Mm.
like wanted to play them. Like I'll probably say Duquesne. Robert Morris, we normally beat them, so that wasn't too much of a rivalry. But Duquesne was always like a good back and forth game. So
Um, I guess it's hard to compare because you did play D1. But what was it like playing Division One football? How wasn't
I
it?
mean,
I mean, we played against some D1 teams, and it didn't the level wasn't like crazy. It really to me was just like the offensive lines for real.
yeah.
It's always the trenches was always the
I
difference.
mean,
Yeah,
I
but
I really don't get too big on myself about it, but it was. I mean, it was fast. Like normally, like in high
mm,
school, you got one or two players that like kind of stands out that can like play ball. But then when you get to D1, it's like there's a lot of people like that. But at the same time,
right.
it's still players that's like I don't think I don't know why you're up here, but I mean, I never really kind of like thought about it like that. To me, it was just another level of football that I was playing. I mean, I definitely
Mm,
played against some players, that played in the NFL, things like that. So that was cool. Um, like Terrence West at Towson, played against him. Um, Jarek McKinnon, he was at Georgia Southern. He was playing with I think like the Vikings at the time. Played against him. Um, Just a couple other players that,
that's fine.
huh?
That boy a beast. He's
Yeah,
nasty.
yeah,
McKenna was nasty. Um, dang. So you know, I only see a bio, so it didn't say like a team
right.
record and whatnot. But um, I guess how did y'all do? Did y'all ever go to playoffs?
Mm-mm. They didn't. They didn't go to the playoff. They went. It makes me so upset. Literally, the year after I left, they made it to the playoffs. Like when I was there during my tenure there, we had the best record. Like before, it was the best record since they went D1, and we were like a legit
Wow.
like 5-6, 5-6, 5-6. Like we were like consistently hitting the same record every time. And then it wasn't until the year after I left, they made it to the playoffs. They lost in the championship. Then the next year after that, they won the championship. So I mean,
That's
it made me
crazy.
feel good because there was a lot of the guys that they were there when I was there. So and it felt good.
Yeah.
My boy Lorenzo Jerome. He used to always say like y'all class really paved the way for us. Like y'all showed us how to win, how to handle business, things like that. So, um, but yeah, I mean, we was always like middle of the pack. like top four. Like we was always right there every single time. So I mean, and before we
That's
got
what's up.
there, St. Francis was winning like 2 games, 1, 2 games, sometimes no games. So, it was a good jump. So I like to definitely think, like my class, the guys, that I looked up to that was there with us, we really helped turn the curve for that program.
For sure. No,
Yeah,
that's what's up, man. Y'all
yeah,
laid the
most definitely.
foundation. Um, so when you finished playing after college, what were your plans for football? Was you saying I'm
Um,
done, or did you know you was going
nah.
to keep
When
going?
I was done playing college, I wasn't done playing. I still had aspirations of playing at a higher level. I had an agent. I had pro day that I had trained. I did everything.
Oh, all
Hmm.
right. So let me ask you. First off, the process of getting an agent, like, what was that like? Was it
Annoying,
easy, or you? How do you
annoying.
find an agent?
Um, Honestly, one of my teammates at the time, my boy Corey, he was in the same process with me. He actually knew a guy already that that was going to be his agent, and the agent he ended up signing me too. Well, I signed with him as well, so we was kind of doing the process together. We were going to the same pro days, same workouts, things like that, and long story short, I well, not long story short, like I went through the whole going through the draft process. Granted, I wasn't picked, I wasn't sought out to be like drafted or anything like that. But I did have conversations with NFL teams. I spoke with the Ravens, spoke with the Browns, things like those are pretty much the main 2 teams that I talked to. And
That's dope.
I did my pro day at actually Howard University. Went back home and did. Yep, I was at Howard
Really?
for that, and I did okay. Uh,
I gotta
huh?
ask. What was the 40?
At
What
that
was the 40?
time, actually, hang on for 1 second. That is 1 second. Okay, so at the time, my my 40 was actually when I was on my pro day. It was like a low, not a low. I guess it'd be a high 4.5, and it was okay. Wasn't I wish I did better, but my vertical was a 39 and a half. Um, Bench press, I think it was like either 13 or 14 reps, a 225. Um, my shuttle was on my pro day, it was a 4.1, but my best time I actually got down to a 3.97. So I tested, I did other workouts. Like I said, I worked out for the CFL, I did arena, I did all that stuff. So my times got better and better and better. And I actually ended up, I graduated and everything. Fast forward to like 2017. That's when I went to, I played arena in Iowa.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me get my notes here. You played for was this
Cedar
Cedar
Rapids
Rapids
Titans. Yep.
Titans? Man, I gotta like, what is arena ball like? Cause
Fast.
it looked dope.
Fast. That's
Really?
it's fun. It's fun, but it's
Yeah.
fast. Like it's fast. Like before you know it, you're in the end zone, and when I
Dang.
tell
Yeah.
people that wall is undefeated, that wall is undefeated. Like
I saw you got a couple joints where you
yeah, over the
catching over
wall,
the
flipping
wall, you
over. Yeah,
falling into the
that
stand.
it happens. Like and people think like, oh, it's a soft cushion on the other side. Like no, it's concrete on the other side of the wall. So I mean, like I said, I mean, that was another experience. But I mean, I lived out my dream. Like I was a professional football player. You know, it was
Yeah,
it
bro.
was
That's a fact.
like I said, of course, not like the NFL or anything like that, but like you had real live fans. After each game, they got the tables lined up. You got to sit there. You got to sign autographs, take pictures. Um, we had to do appearances for commercials, like local commercials in the area. Um, had to do things like that. Of course, had post game interviews, interviews throughout the week. If a local TV station wanted to talk to you, bring you on the radio show, things like that. Um, so it was an experience. Um,
Did you practice the end zone dances?
no. Mm-mm.
You
Uh-uh.
were like, I
Uh,
the from the highlight tape anyway. The dances was impressive. It was very impressive. I didn't know Frankie
nah.
had moves like
It
this.
was no, none of those were practice. It was just a spur of the moment. I mean, we,
You just
we
came.
as receivers, we used to like if someone else scored, like we kind of had like something we already planned out. But for my touchdowns, it was it was whatever came to mind at that time, and then everybody was like, "Oh, okay, that's what we doing." But yeah, I mean that was an interesting season because I really that season I was playing receiver. One time my quarterback got hurt. I had to play quarterback. Uh, yeah, and
I
I
peep.
never played quarterback a day in my life.
But you always said you was
Yeah,
a quarterback.
I could always throw, but
You'd be like, bruh, I'm the backup. Like, what you talking about?
yeah, I could always throw just in case of something happened. And then the good thing with my coach, he knew that I understood all the plays, so I knew how to I knew what everyone was doing. So that's why I tell a lot of young guys now, like when you're learning plays, learn the whole play. Don't just learn your position because you never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So one day, it's so funny. One day my coach came up to me during practice. He said, because we actually had a backup quarterback. We ended up releasing him for whatever reason. So we didn't have another quarterback on the roster but our starter. So during pregame warm-ups and stuff, on game day, You know, I'm playing
Right.
catch with the other receivers, and the coach is just watching me throw. He said, Frank, you ever played quarterback before? I was like, nah. He said, you played baseball before? I was like, yeah, like when I was a kid. He was like, you can throw. I said, yeah, I can throw a little bit. And he was like, in case our quarterback name at the time was Breon. He said, in case Breon gets hurt, you're going in. I was like, oh shit. I was like, all right, okay. Towards the end of the game, and we lost this game, but the game it's almost over. It's like a minute a minute left in the game. Breon gets hurt, and I'm like, fuck. So I look at coach. I look at my coach. He's just like, what we talked about. And I'm just like, all
There
right.
you go.
So he calls the play. He gives me the play. He actually gives me the signal and all that stuff. I know exactly what the play is. So I catch the snap, and I'm ready to throw the ball. Like I'm ready. One of our linemen missed the block. So like
Oh,
unblocked lineman running right at me. I sidestep out the way, make a miss, and I'm like, okay, I got two options. And I can either reset, make the right read, because someone is open right in front of me, or I just take off. So I took off. I said, fuck this, I'm running. I'm running. So I'm running. Get good yards. Boom. So I look, the game's almost over. So I'm thinking like, all right, we're gonna take a knee. We'll just, go into next week. I look at coach, he said, nah, keep going. So I'm like, all right. So we call another play. I actually looking. I didn't find nobody. So I take off again. I actually almost scored. I don't know who I thought I was. I tried to dive over three people, jump over three people to get in the end zone. I felt like on the 2 yard line. But after that game, like that whole week, our quarterback, he still kind of worked his way back trying to get healthy. I'm taking quarterback reps like in practice, like with the starters, like getting used to like all right, making throws on stuff. So I'm ready. I mean, luckily, my quarterback was able to play, so I was able to go back to receiver. But it was a fun experience. To say like playing
Man,
quarterback and receiver. You know, so yeah,
that's fire. That's
yeah.
fire, man. So I mean, now what you been up to
Um,
now, man? I know
yeah,
you playing
yeah. I
flag.
play
Hey,
flag
look,
now.
look,
Uh,
Frank. I know
yes,
I've
you
been
have been
dodging.
dodging. You should have been playing.
I
You
know
should have
I've
been
been
playing.
dodging. Look, you know what, bro? I ain't even gonna care. I don't know. It's my
I
knees,
mean,
bro.
I get
It's
it.
my
I
knees,
get
bro.
it.
I ain't even gonna lie. But I should. I really should. I need to get some cleats. I ain't even gonna cap.
Yeah,
I will let you know. I'm
yeah.
not. I'm
You
not even trying to
should.
play it.
You should. Cause
Good.
honestly, I'm be very honest. My brother, he plays flag, and we play on the same team. He brought it up to me back when I was actually still in college. He started playing back in
Mm.
2014. So he said, I'm playing flag now. I said, man, I'm playing collegiate football. I'm not thinking about no damn flag. And,
Right.
fast forward to 2015, I graduated and stuff. He said, man, just come out. Just come play. I was like, all right, man. So I come out there. And it was cool. I had a couple catches, had some touchdowns. Oh, it was cool. And then, while I'm still training, for, CFL, things like that, I'm still playing flag, just to, keep myself in shape. And even when I went to play arena, luckily, my flag team, they accepted it, they supported it and all that stuff, but I was gone. And when I came back, I actually wasn't playing when I came back right away because I was actually coming back from an injury. But once I got healthy again, I started playing again. And then honestly, after a while, the CFL, being in camps, being in another arena camp, things like that, I was like, all right, I think I'm done playing professional football. So that's when I fully was like, all right,
Yeah.
I'm playing flag. And what I tell people is, it's it's a lot of good football players who play flag. Like it's becoming a big thing.
Yeah, bruh. Yeah, I've been seeing it. I know flag football is
Yeah,
getting bigger
it
and bigger
is.
out here, man. Um,
It is. And
so
it's
it's
it's really a
no, that's good.
transition. Like not every person who played contact football can play flag. Like I've noticed that.
No,
Like it's not it.
no.
Honestly, one of the players on our team right now, I'm not gonna put his name out there, but he played in the NFL. Yeah,
Oh wow. Okay.
not I'm not talking like practice squad, like active roster, getting carries, playing in
He
the NFL. He played
played.
running back, and he plays on our flag team now. And he even when he catches the ball, he does a jump cut like he's a running back. Like I'm like that jump cut shit. That shit don't work. I was like, you got to develop like
Right.
some yeah, like
He got to
legit
spin.
flag moves.
Oh snap! Hold on. Where you at?
No, you fine.
All right, my bad. I should have been on Do Not Disturb. I don't know why I do this. It's my wife's computer. All right. Well, you know what? With that being said,
Yeah, yeah,
we gonna get into some quick hitters. All
yeah.
right. Then we go roll out of here, man. All right. Um, who was one player you tried to play like when you was playing?
I was playing contact football.
Yeah.
Mm. Well, back when I can't say him now. I was really big on Andre Johnson. Yeah,
Oof.
yeah,
What a beast, man.
yeah.
What a beast. Favorite place to play?
Um, mm, oh, Georgia Southern. Either it was a toss up. It was
Really?
Georgia Southern, and a lot of people may not agree with me, but James Madison. I actually love that stadium. But Georgia Southern was probably the number one. And then
Quick, did y'all fly?
yeah, we fly to Georgia Southern. And then also North Dakota State. Yeah, I played against
Really?
Carson Wentz.
I was about to.
Yeah, that was freshman
That's
year.
crazy. First of all, how
Crazy.
good were they?
Like a well-oiled machine.
Okay, I just
Like
yeah.
back
Yeah,
then,
that's
you knew
crazy.
Carson Wentz like, yeah, you're an NFL caliber quarterback. Yeah.
He was gonna be that guy.
So, like I said, some
Man,
guys you
that's
could
nuts.
just tell had that it factor, and he was one of those guys.
Yeah, that stadium. Well, on TV, it looked crazy. I mean, it looked like
In the stadium when it's
pretty
packed, you
huge.
can't hear anything.
Yeah, that's nuts. That's nuts. All right, turf or grass? Home or
Home.
away? All right, a favorite athlete against guy. Nike or Adidas?
Oh,
Favorite
Commanders.
team?
Commanders. I can't say Redskins no more. Can't say them no more. But yeah,
Can't even
gotta
say the
go with
football
the
team. All right, man. This is funny as a receiver. So out of all the quarterbacks you played with, who do you trust most in
Out
the
of all the
2 minute drill?
quarterbacks I played with in the 2 minute, my quarterback, Zach Dreher. My quarterback from St. Francis.
There you go. There you go, man. Franky, I appreciate having you on. Thank you for coming.
Of course, man. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. It's a pleasure. To all the listeners, thank you for listening. Make sure you leave a rating, subscribe on YouTube if this comes out on YouTube. Man, appreciate y'all, man. It's Technically Athletic.